What's going on, everybody, and welcome to Wrestlemania 32. Graphic is here. Unfortunately, they decided they don't want to put Roman numerals on these more recent WrestleManias, but we're here with WrestleMania 32 on our 39 WrestleManias and 39 days. We are on... wow, I can't speak today. We are on the home stretch of WrestleManias. We are slowly ramping up. We have literally a week from this upload, I will be on my way to Philadelphia. And that fact has just not really clicked with me yet. That literally a week from the day this uploads, I'll be on my way to Philly. I'm so excited for WrestleMania 40, and it is almost here. But we are going to go ahead and review this card here, WrestleMania 32. Rob's review is on the side there. This is, of course, a card that was notoriously butchered by injuries, some of them occurring rather late that caused them to make some plan changes, kind of on the fly a little bit, but not to a degree where I thought that it ruined the event. Definitely some that are extremely important to what they had set up. Cena, Orton, Cesaro, Rollins, Sting, a ton of mid-card talent. All of it was injured. I mean, just those five alone. Sting versus Undertaker was supposed to be last WrestleMania, but they obviously changed that to Triple H. They were actually going to build up to Sting versus Undertaker here, and Sting got hurt. So they ended up doing the horrible decision they did in the main event of this WrestleMania. Cena, of course, is not featured here because he was injured. So was Cesaro. Rollins was injured as well. But yeah, it was an unfortunate accident of a WrestleMania. So let's go ahead and dive into what we have here and see how it all came out. Starting with the 7-way ladder match for the Intercontinental title. This is the second year that they've done this. We have Zack Ryder winning it against Dolph Ziggler, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Sin Cara, Stardust, and The Miz. Another amazing match. Even when the ladders weren't involved, these 7 blew the roof off the stadium. An excellent opener. Sami and Kevin Owens are as amazing in 2016 as they are now. Which is the year this WrestleMania took place. Phenomenal every time these two are on my screen. I've never seen a bad... Well, take that back. I have now seen a bad Sami Zayn match. That's on a WrestleMania to come. But it's not necessarily his fault. When the parameters are ideal and you're not doing a WrestleMania in front of no fans like WrestleMania 36 ended up being... I've never seen a bad Sami Zayn match. Kevin Owens, even then, still amazing. They were the standouts in this match by a mile. Sin Cara hit his patented high-flying moves. Miz and Stardust did Miz and Stardust things. Ziggler and Zack Ryder had some amazing exchanges with the crew and each other. Absolutely sold their asses off. Zack Ryder got to have his WrestleMania moment by finally reaching the title after 10 years in the WWE. Overall, exciting from bell to bell. Sami Zayn flying through a ladder onto half the crew, and then leaping through the turnbuckle to DDT Kevin Owens. Absolutely amazing. Flawless execution there. I damn near leapt from my seat when he did that. That spot alone makes this match a great 8 out of 10 to a 9 out of 10. Again, I love these WrestleMania matches that have that iconic spot that you can talk about. That spot was mine for this match. So I gave this match a 9 out of 10. I loved it. I thought it was an A. Rob gave it a B. Didn't designate B plus or B minus, but he does have a B plus on this card. So I'm going to assume this is meant to be a 7. So I will end up knocking this down to an 8. The average of the 9 and 7 that we both gave, which again was going to be my original spot anyway. So not the first time this has happened. But we'll go ahead and give that match an 8. Next up, we have Chris Jericho versus AJ Styles. An amazing mesh of styles and chemistry, no pun intended. That was phenomenal. Again, no pun intended. Great back and forth, never too one-sided. Great action around the ring. The constant struggle to avoid the finishers, submissions by both were dramatic. The crowd was hype for these two. This is Styles' first WrestleMania, so of course the crowd is going to be hyped to it. I've also read somewhere that Styles was actually not supposed to debut until the Monday after this WrestleMania, but because of all the injuries, they needed an infusion of star power, so they called him up early at the Royal Rumble to set up this match. I don't know who was supposed to fight Chris Jericho before then, but that is who they ended up using for this match here. I thought it was great drama with the ending 2 counts, the back and forth counters, but as is a common thread with these last few WrestleManias, the wrong guy won. I think having Styles go over in his Mania debut just made too much sense for Vince McMahon to actually do it, and instead he let Chris Jericho go over. Chris Jericho got the win, countering the Phenomenal Forearm and the Code Breaker. It was a great ending and it looked amazing, but I think Styles winning fit the story better. Again, it's hard to say if they had Styles lose because Chris Jericho was always promised a win at WrestleMania. I don't know. I don't know if, something caused them to audible into... I don't know. But Styles lost. Chris Jericho wins. The match is still an 8 out of 10 for me. I don't see any reason to take any points off of that. Rob agrees. Gave this match a B. So another 8 out of 10 on this card. So far, looking promising. Next up, we have the League of Nations. Alberto Del Rio, Rusev, and Sheamus with King Barrett versus the New Day. Bootios! This is the iconic Bootios entrance by New Day, where the gigantic box of Bootios falls on the stage and they come out the box. I love New Day. They're fucking hilarious. They are so entertaining. I miss Big E. I hope he gets back soon, but I love Xavier and Kofi as well. The comedic kings, who are also known to put on bangers when actually given the opportunity. However, they were not given the opportunity in this match. Xavier Woods was an unfortunately long control segment. This match never hits what I would consider WrestleMania level to this degree. It would work as a pay-per-view match, maybe, but not WrestleMania. It misses the mark. Not a terrible match by any means, but also nothing remarkable either. The League of Nations gets the win thanks to Barrett cheap shots, bro kick to Woods. The post-match is a nostalgia pop, but even that isn't as good as you'd expect. With Stone Cold, Shawn Michaels, and Mick Foley coming out. I mean, yeah, it's cool to see them again. And I'm sure when watching this live for the first time, it's a huge moment. But when you've watched all these WrestleManias back to back, you start to realize that those moments happen often. So often to the point that, yeah, if you only see it once a year, it's a big deal. But I've seen it literally every single day for the last month and a half. It's no longer a big deal to me, which I know isn't necessarily fair, but I do still have to take that into consideration when doing these reviews. It didn't ignite me like it will at WrestleMania 40 when they come out. That will be a different story. But again, it's live. It's different. Overall, I gave this match a 5 out of 10. I do love seeing Stone Cold and company, but it was just for the pop. 5 out of 10. Rob actually agrees with me. Gave this match a C, so he agrees that this is a 5 out of 10. Again, it's not bad, especially considered the stinkers that we've seen on these WrestleMania cards that are much worse than a 5. It's just not quite amazing, which I think is completely fair. Next up we have Brock Lesnar versus Dean Ambrose in a no-holds-barred street fight. If Lesnar cares about a match or a feud, he will put on a banger for you. If Lesnar does not care about the match or a feud, he will do the bare minimum to get in and get out. Unfortunately, this is the latter. Stories have been broken all over the place, especially recently, that Dean Ambrose approached Brock Lesnar with a list of things that he wanted to do in this match, and Lesnar refused all of them. That's why the chainsaw doesn't get used at all. Barbed wire bat doesn't get used at all. Thumbtacks don't get used at all, even though those tools were used in teasing this match from the very beginning. None of it's used. It's your basic run-of-the-mill weapons. Chairs, tables, stuff like that. Lesnar just kind of lumbered around, hit a bunch of stiff punches, ton of suplexes. Match gets a little bit better when Ambrose comes back with the ring bell. The fire hydrant spot was fun, but Brock still didn't seem to care. Ambrose fills the ring with chairs so that Brock can suplex both wrestlers onto them, because of course he did. A DDT from Ambrose onto the chairs, in my opinion, probably should have ended it, but instead, Ambrose makes us believe that Barbie is getting used, and instead walks into an F5 onto the chairs that ends the match. What makes this match, again, so universally disappointing is that build. You didn't pay off anything that you set up for this match at all for the last month. And when you do that, it creates sort of it creates a crowd that's against the match. You could see, it's, for example, modern day WWE. The Rock is calling himself the final boss. The Rock is doing all this. Where I'm recording this, he just busted open Cody Rhodes a few nights ago on Monday Night Raw. If that match isn't good, you've built all this for nothing. If The Rock and Roman lose night one, you've built all this for nothing. They have to win night one. Because that Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes match, that has to be Bloodline rules. I need as much chaos as possible in that match, or else the build that you have done for this is for nothing. It's just how it is. It might seem predictable, but sometimes predictable is good if built correctly. I feel like this match was unpredictable because they didn't do anything that you had built up for. That's not good, right? Is him using the barbed wire bat predictable if he does it? Yeah, he was teasing it for a month. But the fact that he didn't do it kind of pisses me off a little bit, and I'm sure it pissed off most people that were watching this. Overall, what we had here was okay. I gave it a 4 out of 10. Rob, I saw Brock Lesnar there. Rob liked it a little bit more. He gave it a 5 as well, so of course that 0.5 rule is going to come into play here, where it's going to end up being that 4.5 average. That's going to bump it up to a 5, but it's still, this match could have been so much better. Next up, we have Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks for the new WWE Women's title. The Divas title has been retired. This is before the Raw and SmackDown got split again, so it's just one title here. And you know what? The Revolution has arrived. And I think there's no one that I would like to discuss the Women's Revolution with more than my good friend Rob. Let's go to him for today's match review. What's going on, everybody, and welcome to WrestleMania 32 match review. I am here with
Tito.
Yep, famous Orioles player Tito. We're here to review the Women's Revolution match here, the triple threat for the new Women's Champion. As I said, the Divas title was retired for this match. And this is between Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, Charlotte Flair. The notes that I have on this match in full capital letters, but I can't yell it because our roommate's asleep. The revolution has arrived. God bless real women's wrestling. These three got a long 16 minutes and used all of them to truly arrive on the stage. The beginning was typical triple threat style with Sasha taken out, but that just means this is a real match, baby. No more joke shit. An amazing moonsault by Charlotte. Great selling and offense by all three parties. The submission into submission by all three parties was exciting. Things really ramp up as all three get a chance to star on offense. Sasha hit a nasty good bank statement before Charlotte throws her out of the ring, hits the figure eight on Becky. Daddy Flair holds Sasha while Becky has to tap out to Charlotte. The announcers are bickering about the match and not which one. Now the announcers are bickering about the match and not which diva they want to sleep with. So God bless the revolution. 10 out of 10. I know you didn't give it a 10 out of 10. I believe you gave it a B.
I did give it a B.
You gave it you gave it that 8, so it's going to knock it down to a 9. But I gave it a 10, and because of everything that surrounds this match. The importance of this match being good cannot be foreshadowed or overshadowed. And I know for a fact that the stress of that fact is going to weigh on all three of these people, and they still put on a hell of a match. So, what was this match missing that you gave it a B on versus an A? What was missing from this match?
So, looking at the individual components of Becky Lynch versus Sasha, Becky Lynch versus Charlotte, Sasha, so on and so forth. I just remember at the time I felt like they had a lot better matches down in NXT, like better spots, I guess, and things that engaged the crowd just a little bit more. Not saying the crowd wasn't engaged here; they were very much engaged. It's very much needed, but I just feel like you could tell that. I guess at moments they were going, okay, let's just go for this next spot. As to where like their NXT matches, it was, we're just gonna do something and get a pop out of it. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it's so funny because their NXT matches were phenomenal, and of course Becky Lynch just recently wrote a book, and she talks about like she hated her NXT. She thought she sucked in NXT. She was shocked that she got called up.
She hated when she was in the green getup.
Yeah,
Typical Irish.
Yeah, but it's just like she thought she sucked there, but everyone loved her in NXT. But
nah, dude, she was amazing.
Yeah, and the thing about these three is when NXT was coming up and Triple H was in charge of it, it almost seemed like he was hell bent and determined to make women's wrestling real.
Oh, 100%.
And not the gimmick shit that we'd been used to. And he picked these three and Bayley to kind of spearhead that revolution with the 4 horsewomen down in NXT. Mm-hmm. These three were able to put that, I guess, that work to practice here. And like I said, if this match wasn't good, the revolution doesn't have any staying power. And women's wrestling would fade right back to the way it was.
I mean, so when was this WrestleMania? What year?
This WrestleMania was in 2016.
2016. Okay, the Women's Revolution, like the pay-per-view, didn't come out till 18.
Right. But this is kind of where it started. The Divas Revolution I
think it started with the Bella Twins, too. They had a big impact.
To a degree, but I feel like the Bella Twins had a bit more of a vocal power. Mm-hmm. And I feel like they were, while we frown upon it, the Bella Twins were the first 2, plus maybe AJ Lee, that could politic their way into getting what they want without sleeping with the boss. Which, unfortunately, is actually something that probably could have been demanded based on what we now know of Vince McMahon. Mm-hmm. They didn't have to. They were good enough to voice their opinions and actually be heard and taken seriously. Mm-hmm. They set the groundwork for this Diva Revolution that these three, in my opinion, spearheaded. These three are more important. Without these three, women's wrestling today is not what it is. And I don't think that is a hot take to say. That, yes, the Bella Twins and AJ Lee, they set the framework that these three built upon. But if these three built a shitty house that fell apart, it wouldn't matter. These three took that mantle. They ran with it. This match is the spearhead that they used to drive into this misogynistic world of women's wrestling that we've been stuck with for the last fucking 40 years. Right? Obviously, all three... And, of course, this is only 2016, so it's not like this was 10 years ago. Almost. Well, it is almost 10 years ago. That hurt. That hurt.
Good job, buddy. Good job.
But these three still have very successful careers. They're still very active now. I mean, Becky Lynch is about to be in a major match this coming week, next weekend. And then Sasha Banks is doing great work over in AEW.
So is Bayley.
Yeah, Bayley's not in this match, though. Charlotte Flair is unfortunately injured. But these three still have very successful careers right now. Mm-hmm. I guess... When this was all coming out, like you were watching NXT at the time,
religiously.
Did you see these three reaching the levels that they are now?
100%. Becky Lynch, compared to Sasha and Charlotte, I saw her coming up later, or becoming a bigger star later, because Sasha Banks was already fucking popular. Charlotte Flair is just a fucking anomaly. Or she was when she was in NXT.
I mean, she's Charlotte Flair.
Yeah.
And she's damn good. I'd argue that, I know it's hard to compare women's and men's wrestling, but I'd argue she's almost better than her dad. Like, her to women's wrestling, I think her impact has been bigger than her dad's. Obviously, we've already talked about Flair's impact in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
But I would say her impact on women's wrestling is greater than her dad's impact on men's wrestling.
Like, I know we have shit on Charlotte before, or more or less you have.
I don't shit on Charlotte. I shit on the fact that she cannot seem to be in a storyline that doesn't involve a title. And I'm going to end up mentioning that in later WrestleMania reviews.
Oh, trust me.
She can't... If it's not for a title, she's not interested. That's starting to grind on my gears now.
Yeah. But, I mean, at this given time...
She deserved it.
Oh, yeah. She was easily the top person. I mean, do I think, Daddy had a role in it to a degree? But...
I mean, 90% of wrestlers are Nepo babies now, so...
Yeah, but, I mean, she also fucking walked the walk and talked the talk and walked the walk.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, and I don't really know if we can say which one of these had the bigger impact, because I think they've all had bigger impacts in different ways. I think Becky has been great for the younger divas, boosting them up. I mean, that's why she got the NXT title recently. That's why she went down there. That's why she's been working them. She's been trying to put them over. Charlotte has set an example, if you will, that all women's wrestling should try to reach. And Sasha Banks just went over to a whole other company and became the #1 trending topic, and that company doesn't create a whole lot of trending topics, honestly. So that's pretty damn good too. Sasha Banks
she also got a big payday, so that plays into all
easily the highest paid women's wrestler in history ever. So all three of these women have legendary careers, and it all started, in my opinion, yes, they've obviously had matches before this, but this match is what started everything for all three of them and women's wrestling as we know it now. And I think that it is extremely important that we acknowledge that. But this review has gone on a little bit longer than I would have liked, so that is all I have to say. Do you have any closing remarks?
Nah, man. Or should I say the man?
Goodbye, guys. Back to me. So again, I love this match. I thought this match was phenomenal. I gave this match, again, as I said, I gave this match a 10 out of 10 mostly because of the story and the build and the match itself. Rob solely focuses on the matches, so he gave this match a B+. That's fine. It's still going to come up to a 9, so it's still going to be easily the best women's match of WrestleMania history so far, but we've already discussed that, so I shall move on. Next up, we have The Undertaker versus Shane McMahon, the aforementioned unfortunate lack of Sting, lack of Cena. Had to give Undertaker something, so you gave him Shane McMahon. At least The Undertaker wins this match. But this is, for once, a storyline where it might have been better for Taker to lose. Vince McMahon was obviously having an abuse of power. Shane McMahon was stepping up to him, and in order for Shane McMahon to take control of the company, he had to beat The Undertaker. It would have saved the WWE so much had they given the shit to Shane. And instead, Undertaker wins. And it's one of the few times where you could tell the crowd wants Taker to win because it's Taker, but they also realize that it's going to make Raw and SmackDown continue to suck if Taker wins. So it's like, this could be your second loss, and it's not. He wins. This match is really only memorable for the one moment where Shane McMahon jumps off the top of the cell through the table. It is a very iconic spot, but overall, I wasn't entirely crazy about this match. The beginning was fun, good back and forth, and then it becomes an Undertaker control segment against Shane, which makes sense given it's Shane, but it also signifies that Undertaker is considered the heel in this match. Of course, we're all still cheering for him, but he is the heel in this match. Heels are the ones that have control segments. They're the ones that dominate. It becomes a back and forth contest with Shane countering everything Taker throws at him. The match goes out of the cage after Shane cuts the bolts, knocks out Taker with a toolbox before climbing the cage, the iconic leap off the cage onto a table. Taker tombstones him and wins. A match that would have been better had it been a lot shorter. Even if it was just 5 minutes, it was an extremely long match. It takes like 8 minutes for the entire ending sequence to actually happen from start to finish, which is not good entertainment at all. Crowd loved it. I certainly don't hate it, but while the middle was slow and the ending was elongated, I gave it a solid 6 out of 10. Rob disagrees, gave it a C. It is still going to end up staying that 6 because of that 0.5 rule, but again, I can see where Rob's coming from here as well with that C rank. It's okay. It's a good match, but not a good match, if that makes any sense. Next up, we have the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Baron Corbin would go on to win this match. He was a big NXT standout at the time. The participants, bear with me. Adam Rose, Bo Dallas, Curtis Axel, Damian Sandow, Darren Young, Diamond Dallas Page, Fandango, Goldust, Heath Slater, Jack Swagger, Kane, Connor, Mark Henry, R-Truth, Shaquille O'Neal. Yep, you heard that right, Shaquille O'Neal. Tatanka, The Big Show, Tyler Breeze, and Victor. Shaq and Big Show's, the stare down was really cool to see. It just shows how big both men are. Big Show's always been a very large man, but Shaquille O'Neal is a fucking giant himself. So I thought it was a really good moment seeing the two of them standing in front of each other. He's really the only one that I think can make the Big Show look normal. All the wrestlers eliminated both men, and then the quality nosedives. It's just a standard battle royal fiasco. Delivers nothing of sustenance. Horribly boring. No good action. Throw this guy over. Throw that guy over. It's a 2 out of 10. I wasn't crazy about it. Rob agrees. Gave this match a D. So that's where it's going to go. We'll say 2 out of 10. That's where it's going to go. And this is what's going to hurt this WrestleMania, is this match and the follow-up. Rock versus Rowan. Now, I almost didn't want to include this, but there is technically a referee involved. It is technically a match. It shows up on Cage Match as an official match. It counts against Eric Rowan as an official match. So it is an official match. But it's a 0 out of 10. There is a ref. There is a finish. It's unnecessary. Something thrown together for a pop. It's over in 6 seconds. It's a 0. It's trash. It is useless. It had no place on this card. No one wanted this. No one enjoyed this. It was bad. It's unfortunate that this is going to cripple the overall rating of the show, but it happened. And I think that needs to be acknowledged, that sometimes this shit isn't needed. Next up, we have the main event. Another unfortunate match here. We have Roman Reigns versus Triple H. It's really a shame, because this card was really good, and then we got to these last few matches, and it's very sad. Roman Reigns is at an all-time low with the crowd. Triple H, once again, is the bad guy getting cheered. Stephanie McMahon is obnoxious in this match. The entrance was odd. They did literally everything they could to offend the WWE Universe and make them boo Triple H, but gave us no one to cheer for. I mean, they basically called the universe sheep. Closed mouths, slaves almost to their will. The WWE was bending over backwards to try to make us cheer for Roman, and it never worked. It just made the product unwatchable. This match encapsulated that. Plotting, boring, slow, drawn out, no fun spots besides Stephanie getting speared. Then started repeating spots like throwing Roman Reigns over the table multiple times. No one popped the first time, so let's do it again. That was basically the entire plan for this match, it seemed. Suddenly Roman spears Stephanie, and it's like the crowd woke up. Now they don't know whether to cheer or boo, or who to cheer or boo. Roman wins, and suddenly we're cheering. The crowd didn't make sense here. Everyone was booing until he spears Stephanie. That's all it took. He just had to spear Stephanie. I mean, shit, he should have done it at the very beginning then, if that's all it took. Then they boo him immediately the next Monday. He comes out of, like, everyone's cheering for him at the end of this match. And then he's met with a cacophony of boos after this is all said and done. And don't get me wrong, we've had far worse wrestling main events. But the story of this match, the forced Roman face, the crowning of the most hated man on the roster as champion, it's bad. I gave this match a 4 out of 10. I gave it a C-. Rob was even less impressed. He gave his match a 3. It is going to end up averaging out to that 4 because, again, of that 0.5 rule, but this is missing so much to make it good, so that's where we have it. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and calculate the average for this WrestleMania, so bear with me one moment. And the average comes out to 5.22. Again, it's not bad, but when you have a 9 and 2 8s on a card, you expect it to be a very high averaging WrestleMania, and we didn't get that because of those 2 really bad matches that are down at the bottom there. So it's unfortunate. You had some great things on this card, but unfortunately that 5.22 is what you are going to be stuck with in the end. And I will see all of you guys tomorrow for WrestleMania 33 as we inch ever closer to live WrestleMania 40. Y'all have a good night, guys.